Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ed Lyon here from TaxCoach, and welcome to this introduction to TaxCoach Tax Prep. We've worked with accountants across the country for the last 11 years, and we're always interested in finding out what problems we can solve for you. We've realized that one of your biggest problems is coming up with the capacity to prepare tax returns. A lot of TaxCoach members come to us with marketing problems, and marketing problems usually aren't that hard to solve. So we solve the marketing problem, and in exchange, we create a practice management problem. We create a problem of having more work to do than you can handle. And a lot of TaxCoach members ask us how they can find the best seasonal tax help, how they can hire the right tax help. It's not an easy question to answer, but we do have a new solution. I've been very pleased to get to meet Brian Rourke and work with him over the last 6 months or so, moving forward on some projects with Financial Gravity. And we're pleased to introduce TaxCoach Tax Prep powered by Integrity Tax Group. Brian is a CPA with a history of rolling up dozens of tax practices into the sort of mega firm that Brian, I think, might terrify a lot of us. And we look forward to learning today how you can help TaxCoach members with those capacity problems and free TaxCoach members up so that they can focus on the most valuable work and the most valuable clients they can. So, without further delay, Brian Rourke from Integrity Tax Group. Brian, welcome to the presentation, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you for the nice introduction, Ed. I can be a terrifying person, but not usually.
I think rolling up 27 tax practices and preparing 13,000 returns in a year, I think the idea of that kind of volume would terrify people.
I guess all at once. It just happened gradually over a number of years, so it doesn't feel scary. Well, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. There's a lot of holiday stuff going on. I'm up in Michigan today. As I look out my window, there's plenty of snow, probably about a foot of snow. And I presume everybody, being around the country, everybody has some form of winter and Christmas weather. So as Ed explained, we had started to talk and mentioned that one of the struggles of helping his TaxCoach professionals shift from tax prep to wealth management, do some tax planning for their higher income client and small business clients. Their biggest obstacle was tax season. And from my experience, I have Series 7, 63, 65. So my experience is also at the end of the year, they want to do tax planning, but they also want to work on their investments. The same thing while they're doing their taxes. They're talking about moving their investments. It just seems to be that's probably one of the most critical times, and consequently, it becomes a struggle. My experience has been, and I've been told the same thing and listened to panels, that, hey, if we put those clients off to do it after tax season, this is firsthand experience for me was the client said, oh, yeah, hey, we'll do it after tax season. After tax season, I called them, and they just went to the bank because they didn't want to bother me because I'm so busy. So that hopefully the outsourcing would give you an opportunity to shell off some of the tax prep and give you some time to open up a window to work with some of the wealth management clients that you might have. So through here, I'll use some terms. ITG, that's us, Integrity Tax Group. Sometimes in the presentation, I'll say you or TaxCoach Professional or Professional. That'd be the TaxCoach members. And then there's a couple references to TaxCoach itself. So Ed and Ed's team will be really the conduit for the process that we'll be going through. We will act as a partner or an alliance partner with TaxCoach to help serve you and your clients. So without further ado, let's get rolling. The first thing I wanted to tell you a little bit about ourselves. We're a multi-state, predominantly tax practice. We are a CPA firm. We do tax. We have the full gambit of services. We have 11 offices. Predominantly everything we do internally and for our clients are web-based, which really allows us to offer this service. So as Ed pointed out, we have 13,000 tax and small business clients, and we're already sharing clients among ourselves. So the procedures that are laid out are stuff that we're already doing now. It really has helped us, all being web-based. We have one of our clients hosts. We have 4 different servers, so when we scan in the information for a client, really anybody at any office has the ability to help with that specific tax return, and it's really helped us with balancing workload. So if one office is busy one time of the year, they can share with somebody else who's slower. So all the stuff that we're going to share with you, we're already doing in-house with our own returns. Our website, feel free to go out and check us out on our website, our Facebook page, and feel free to shoot me an email if you have questions afterward, or if you have some further interest in having us help you outsource some of your returns, or all of them for that matter. Hey, I wanted to make sure you understand trust and confidence is key for this whole thing. Your relationships with your clients are all based on trust and confidence. Same thing. You need to have confidence in us, and we need to build a level of trust with you so that you can also pass that along to your clients. The following slides, as I already said, are some specific procedures that we already do, and we'll need to follow those as closely as we can to accomplish the swift yet quality services that our clients have come to expect from us. Also, as we work together serving our mutual clients, we hope also we can build a relationship with you. So it'd be great to meet some of you. I'm just getting involved with TaxCoach, as I was telling Ed. We need to become part of the weekly calls and some of the meetings. I got a chance a couple weeks ago to go to one of the meetings, and I would like to be part of that program. It's awesome. We just started doing some tax blueprint stuff. Some of those terms might come up. So we're getting on board with the program. Some of you have probably been on for a long time. For us, it's kind of new. This is not our first tax return. As I said, we've been sharing clients between offices, and it's been, for us anyway, it's been proven quite successful to share returns back and forth. So taking through the steps, step number 1 would be getting returns from you guys, and we'd need to convert. Unless you're on Drake, we're going to need to convert those returns and prior to getting started, so that we can review. And as Ed said, we've done this at least 27 times. So the conversion process, we've had great success, but we found the success and depreciation, the one that I always agonized over the most, has really been really clean. But it's the carryovers that they just don't carry over good in the conversion process. So we need to make sure and verify all of those are in there. So every return that we convert, we need to go in and verify that all those got converted properly. So on that note, for anybody that's interested and they're not using Drake, I got to have a minimum 50 returns. That allows us to assign somebody to make sure we go through all those returns to get them converted and get them up and rolling. Integrity Tax Group will provide an intake form. a 7216 disclosure form, engagement letters for your clients to sign, initial docs, and current year client docs will all be communicated through a web portal that we have. We really want to be treated as an extension of your office. We want to represent ourselves as working in your office when contacting a client. So it'd be like if a client dropped off their information at your office, or maybe you do an initial intake, whatever your process is, we would treat ourselves kind of like if there's a return there to do, we're one of your professionals that comes into the office and prepares the return. Communication, we want you to know that you're going to be carbon copied on all correspondence. We're going to remind your clients weekly for any incomplete information, and we're going to copy you on that. We're going to guarantee a 24-hour response time to any client phone calls or emails, and then all phone calls will summarize in an email, copy back to the client, say, hey, thanks for that call. Here's what I understood you to say, and we email it back to them, but we also carbon copy you. It does two things. One, it keeps you in the loop for what's going on, if you want to see that, and also it gives us a paper trail, an email trail to all the correspondence, so we have track of everything. And also we'd like to establish a single point of contact, both on your end and on our end. So there's, again, we talked about relationship, building trust and communication, so that one-to-one relationship will help out with communication as well. We'd have full contact with the client. We would complete a final product reviewed with the client. This would include final review, procuring all the required signatures for the 7216 disclosure, the 8453, if we're going to use that at all, EIC, engagement letter, anything with signatures, we can take care of all that. Again, in some discussions earlier, some of you do an initial interview. That's fine. We can take it after that. Some of you want to also review it with your clients. That's fine. We can work with you on that, whether you want us to review it with you or the client. But anyway, we'll be prepared to have a final product on how that works out. All the returns are reviewed and signed by a CPA or enrolled agent. Once the process is complete with a client, we'll send you a completed copy of the return so you can collect funds from the client and the 8879 signature. Now, as we all know already, the 8879, once that's signed, we have 3 days to get that e-filed. So what we need from you guys is once you get that 8879 signature, we need to get that, a copy of that back within 24 hours. So you as the professional can email us some kind of authorization to e-file with the 8879 saying, hey, go ahead, e-file this return. We've collected the money. It looks good. We've got a fresh signature. And then that triggers us to go ahead and get it e-filed for the client. One question that came up earlier in some of the panel discussions, to keep our relationship professionally distanced, if you will, I thought it'd be best that we don't do 8821s or POAs on everybody. Some of my colleagues do POAs on everybody every 3 years. We have chosen to do the 8821, so we're just getting paper communication from the IRS. But we had decided that unless you are going to fully outsource all of your clients to us and you want us to be your back office support, full client contact, then we could do the 8821s, and then we would take care of the CP2000s, and we'd offer the audit protection as well for all the clients. For that, we just established, hey, if you got 400 returns or more, or you want us to do all of your returns, I think that'd be feasible. But anyway, we can talk more about that if that becomes an issue or question.
Mm-hmm.
Commitments. We're going to make a commitment to 1 week turnaround from the time that we have all the information from the client. As I said, we're going to touch base with the client once a week until we get everything so they know the ball's in their court and you get copied on that. Returns, again, returns are reviewed and signed by a CPA or EA. We have a policy at our firm that either you have your CPA or EA within 3 years. So we have some interns that come in or college students that are starting off with us, and we tell them, hey, if you plan on staying here, we are all about certification, all about licensing, all about professional standards. So we pay for all the testing that they need, all the training for them to fulfill that. In fact, I just sent out a couple emails today to congratulate a couple people. One just finished his EA exam today, last one, and another one just went through his first part. So that's part of our process, professionalism. And again, you'll be copied on all client correspondence, 24-hour guaranteed response time for clients for phone calls and emails. And again, on the phone calls, we're going to scribe those so you can get a copy of the discussions. Now, I know this probably would never happen.
Never.
All you guys are perfect, and only we have an occasional problem. But if we do find any kind of, and I call them anomalies, but hey, if we find any kind of problems with prior year returns, hey, we are going to talk to you first. This is your client, and we are working together with you, so we'll discuss it with you first on how you would want to handle this, or there might even be more information that we don't know about. So if we see something that looks a little funny, we're going to get a hold of you first to talk about that. And then also, probably just like you guys, we have professional liability insurance. Because we're doing the return, we're the ERO, we're covered under our professional liability insurance, and for all our clients, and it'll extend to all your clients, any kind of errors that we make, we cover interest and penalty. Fees, as I said before, a minimum of 50 returns per practice, $1,000 deposit to get started, and we deduct that from the first batch of completed returns. Also, once you collect the fees from your client and approve the return to be e-filed, then TaxCoach will process billing via ACH once per week. So what we'll do is we'll e-file the returns as they go through, every day. But then once a week, we're going to send all the returns that we did for that week for each of the different practitioners, send that to TaxCoach, and then they are going to invoice you or ACH once a week from the information that we provide to them. And pricing, we have standardized pricing, if you will. We wanted to keep it one page. We just picked out the high volume forms. We wanted to be competitive, so I even on the sheet, I'll just pop it up here. And I don't know, maybe you can't see this. Anyway,
it's visible. It's not easy to see, but
okay.
we can get the idea from there.
You might have to have a 70-inch screen to see some of the. I wanted to get it on one page, but I made it so small. Anyway, we wanted to be competitive on the forms. And again, here was another discussion. I said, hey, if you want cheaper fees, if I went and got help from India and could pass on some of those savings, would you guys be interested? And there was a resounding no. We would rather have Indiana help us with the returns than India. So all that being said, you have Indiana prices, not India prices, and this is predominantly our pricing structure, and we're slightly below the national average. And then you guys can take the fee and mark it up, or you charge your clients what you normally charge them. That's up to you guys. this would be the fee that will be ACH'd from your account, and TaxCoach will be doing that once a week. Here's a flow chart. So we talked a lot about it, a lot of stuff. Here's kind of the flow chart, step-by-step type thing. So first thing would be to upload all the prior year tax return stuff. And again, Drake is going to be not an issue at all because we're already using Drake. But we've done a number of UltraTax conversions. I don't know. We've done at least 7 different softwares, so I'm sure we've done yours, and that I'm not concerned about the conversion process other than the time it takes to go through and verify all the stuff.
It's, and then, Brian, I apologize for interrupting you, but I do think it's worth mentioning that that's one of the reasons that we think Integrity is a terrific provider for this service, because you have rolled up so many firms, you've bought so many practices, and you've done so many conversions. The big dilemma that TaxCoach members have with outsourcing tax prep is usually not the quality of the return preparation. It's just the hassle factor in getting information moved from one place to another and from one format to another. You've got experience doing that in a way that very few firms do, and I think that's absolutely worth mentioning to the group here, which is as a reason why you're the right partner to join.
Well, yep, we have, yes, we have plenty of experience doing that. So it's really, again, it has become a process. It's not something we're going to learn through with you. This is something we're confident in. We've done quite a few times. Once you get the information from the client, signature paperwork, and on that note, hey, if at the end we don't have the signature paperwork, we're going to reach out to the client and get all the paperwork that we need to have done, whatever stage in the process, to get all the stuff signed. But whatever paperwork there is, current year client data, everything, you can upload everything into the secure web portal, and then we can take it from there. Internally, we're going to have one person to keep track of what we're calling a TaxCoach client log. So we're going to keep track of every client that comes through. We're using Atom software. For those of you that are familiar with Drake, maybe you've used Atom or using that. It's a workflow software, so we're going to keep track of our clients there. Some of these notes are kind of even for us internally. We're going to have essentially separate software just set up for the TaxCoach members, so that they will not be mixed into the stream of the rest of our clients. So we'll have separate sign-ons for us internally. We're going to code them separate so we can keep track of how many, all your returns. We can talk about other stuff later as far as marketing stuff, but we'd have all the addresses and everything. So if you wanted to do mailers, oh, I'm really getting in deep now. I don't think we want to go there.
You are.
Okay. Let's see. We'll have direct client contact and communication. So I was just thinking about that today. For us, we have all of our client contact in Drake. So I'm hoping that same thing when we go do the conversion process, that we have at least phone numbers and email addresses to communicate with your clients. Otherwise, we'll have to work out something there. And then, as I said, we'll have a 1-week turnaround once we get all the client info gathered. Next step, a CPA or EA is going to review the return, review it with the client, explain. And in Drake, we have, this is one thing I really like about one of the Drake forms, is they have a comparison form which compares 3 years side by side. And I like to use that as a tool to sit down with the client and go through step by step with them on, hey, your income changed this much this year. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand why? Then we go down, we look at AGI, make sure that makes sense. We go through the Schedule A items to make sure we're clean on that. And some of the other forms, we make sure when we get to tax liability, they understand, you know, what changes in income there were, why their taxes more or less than last year, and then also why they're getting more or less as far as a refund goes. Also then the CPA or EA would confirm we have everything we need. We would then send a copy to you guys, to the professional. Once we get approval back from you to e-file, we're going to deliver that information to TaxCoach for the weekly ACH. We're going to mark the client complete on our log. We'll reconcile the payments every week between Drake and Adam and an Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to have a triple check to make sure we're doing everything on our end correctly. Now here's what allows you to do then on the back side is you can add some value. So you have one more time to focus on your clients, not so much on tax prep. You'll be able to do some tax planning with them. We think this would be a great tool to use for them to do some tax planning, or if you're going to do a tax blueprint, talk to them about some wealth planning, some investment planning, even some referrals. If you do a client satisfaction survey on the backside, one thing that we've done, this is kind of a practice share, we do a client satisfaction survey, but then at the same time, we're also asking them, now we'll do it in the interview, but we also do it on the client satisfaction survey, if there's anything we can do different, and then we have some of those wealth management suggestions on there. Can we help you with a tax plan? Have you received an inheritance this year? Have you changed jobs? Anything we can help you with? And then also another thing we do is follow-up emails. So on the email, we use it as a referral. Are you happy with our service? Please refer your friends. All the things that we already asked them in the interview as far as trying to get more business or cross-selling, we put all those into those emails. And again, you guys are on the green up at the top and down at the bottom, and we're the blue ones in between. And then finally, call to action. If you have questions or interests, please go to the TaxCoach landing page. I'm not sure exactly how Ed's going to get that to you.
It's right. Well, it's right there on your screen, and we'll be emailing a link to everybody in the follow-up to this webinar and in the TaxCoach briefs. TaxCoachSystem.com/tax prep.
Okay, and then or you can you can email myself, Brian Rourke. A copy of the PowerPoint, I believe that's going to be on the TaxCoach landing page. If for some reason it's not, I can make sure you get a copy if you're looking for some of the details or you have some more questions. Due to the short notice, we're going to limit this to the first 3,000 tax returns. I don't have staff to do many more than that this time, so we thought, hey, to make sure we can cover everybody, we're going to limit it to 3,000 returns. Next year, we'll be able to open it up much more and have more staff prepared so we could do 10,000 or more. So depending on how many people are interested and how many clients they want to share, we'd be more capable to do it next year. You don't have to share all of your returns with us. You can keep as many as you'd like. Again, the minimum's 50. That helps us administratively work with sufficient batches so we're not working with a client where there's just a handful. Also, if we're going to do conversions, we had to set a cutoff day of January 15th, which gives you about 3 weeks to decide if this is something you're interested in. Ask whatever questions you want. If you have Drake software, really doesn't matter. We can get those whenever you're ready, whenever your clients are ready to roll, because those are easy to copy over, upload, and get started. And with that, thank you for listening, and this would be a good time for questions.
Absolutely. We've got a bunch of questions, so I will start taking them. First question that came in about 15 minutes ago, will the intake form and engagement letter have the TaxCoach practitioner's name or Integrity Tax Group?
We would have our name on it. I guess if you wanted to use your own, just as long as we get the information, if you wanted to use your own, that's fine. The intake form, what was the other form?
Intake form and engagement letter.
The engagement letter would have to be on our letterhead.
Yes.
Because the client is engaging us to prepare their return. On that note, we'd also have to have a 7216 demonstrating to the client that the professional and us are working together and we're going to share information back and forth. But because we're the ERO, well, you guys already know that IRS requires we got to have a 7216. We don't have to have a consent to disclose form because we're both under Circular 230 and we're not using the information for anything other than tax prep. But we do have to have a 7216, and that would be on ours because we would be in the IRS eyes, the tax preparer.
Right. Right. And it's a matter of positioning the relationship with your clients. We've talked at length, really throughout the history of TaxCoach, about how tax preparation is a commodity service and tax planning and business consulting and financial advisory services are the real value added, to use the corporate buzzword du jour. The planning is the value add. So the explanation to the client is that partnering with Integrity Tax Group lets you, the practitioner, focus on the higher value planning work that other CPAs and enrolled agents don't do with their clients. So it really is just a matter of how you present it.
Well, and that's a good point, Ed. We are going through that now, working with Financial Gravity and TaxCoach. We're out contacting clients. We've done, I'll just say 20. And what we're doing is we're outsourcing the tax planning. So we're not as sharp as you guys, so we want to present a package to our clients, and we're getting it already packaged up from Financial Gravity. They send us, and at first they're a little confused on, hey, who's Financial Gravity, and how are they helping? Why haven't you been able to help us with tax planning before? But the bottom line lies with us and our relationship with the client. We've had nobody bail on us or give us too much grief. They're just kind of curious. So I'm firsthand aware of how clients feel. Well, you know, who's this Integrity Tax Group? But as Ed said, all you have to do is explain to them what's going on, and I've found 100% of the time the clients are fine. Also, I've found, as you guys probably have as well, that all the signature forms, as long as we give them the confidence and trust that they need to have, they'll sign whatever paperwork we put in front of them, and they're game for whatever we're suggesting.
Right. It ultimately it comes down to your relationship with your client.
Yep.
And this is a tool to enhance your relationship with your client by letting you focus on the higher value services that you can deliver. Here's the thing about outsourcing tax prep. And there's some questions here on the fee schedule, which we will get to. And you might look at the fee schedule and say, $125 for a basic 1040 and $100 for a Schedule C, and add up all the forms. And I'm looking at, $400 or $500 to prepare a return that I'm only charging $700 for. And this is, for me, it's $1,000 an hour work. Well, it likely isn't as lucrative as you may think, but and if it is, great, more power to you. Not everyone, the service isn't going to be for everyone, the pricing isn't going to be for everyone, but the fact is, it's a sunk cost. Whether you spend your own time on it, whether you spend time managing the staff to prepare the work, or whether you outsource the work, that's a sunk cost in some form. So the question is, with your relationship with your clients, what can you do to maximize the value of that relationship? What can you do to maximize the value that you deliver to the client? And what can you do to maximize the value that the client returns to you in the form of fees? So the tax prep work really is base level work for a lot of clients. And if you can free up time you can find more valuable things to do with that time in most cases than basic tax preparation. So it lets you focus, particularly with the business owners, during a time of year where you're running around like the proverbial one-armed paper hanger. It lets you slow down and hold the client's hand and really do more for them than just preparing their returns. Remember, people hire you to prepare tax returns because they have to, but they hire you to do tax planning and business consulting and financial advisor work because they want to. There's a very big difference between services that people pay for because they have to and services people pay for because they want to. You're going to do better in your business the more you can focus your time on services that the clients hire you to do because they want to. All right, so I'll get off that soapbox and get back to some of the specific questions, Brian. We have a Drake user who says, would you be doing this on the cloud or on my Drake? Would you be just sending a file each time that updates on my machine? I think I know the answer to this, but I'd best get it from you.
We have our own servers, and we would be copying, however we decide to share the file or files, we'd be putting it on our own server and working it on our own server. So no, we would not be working on your server. We're not using Drake's cloud server. We have our own.
Okay. Good to know. And same member says, how do you handle changes on a return? In other words, like the client puts down $500 gift to charity and I just realized it's $750 when the client's reviewing the return with the TaxCoach practitioner in their office.
Anytime, just like you guys, anytime before it gets e-filed, it's an easy change to go back and change it. So not a big deal.
Right.
But once we e-file it, then we're talking an amended tax return.
Right, just as it would be if you had done the return yourself. But I think that's terrific that you have that your processes, your workflow envisions Integrity Tax Group is at least making the offer, at least the option is there for you to handle that conversation with the client, and switching a return, correcting a mistake from a $500 charitable gift to a $750 charitable gift. That's not $1,000 an hour work. That's not high value work. Okay, Intuit Pro Series, Professional and Basic. Do you have experience with that conversion?
Yes, I want to think. I can think of two practitioners right off the top of my head that we're using the Intuit Pro Series.
Okay. Questions on charging per return and how can TaxCoach members get a copy of that fee schedule? Is that going to be up on the TaxCoach website as well?
Yeah, either it'll be on TaxCoach. If for some reason we can't get it up there, I can email anybody interested. I can email them a copy of the presentation, which the fee schedule's in there.
Right.
And I put it up there for the Drake users. They'll know that that's pretty much the pricing form. And so what we're going to do is we're going to punch that up and punch it in right into the Drake Drake software, so it'll automatically calculate just like we have it on the form.
Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see if, as an organizer on this call, if I can upload the fee schedule directly to, and it looks like I can. All right, oh, there we go. You should see the pricing schedule on the GoToWebinar interface in the handouts. Well, isn't that convenient? Technology being our friend.
Yes.
I wish that happened more often. All right, so the pricing schedule is up on the webinar. All right. As a Drake client, could we send backup files instead of sending copies of returns?
Oh yeah, that's what that's what we want is the data file. We don't want PDFs. We're going to take and the guy that I have do all the conversions, There are specific files. Everybody understands their own software, but we're going to grab the data files to pull out for conversion purposes, not PDFs, if I understood that question right.
Right, I think so. And another member says, would we be able to get client data files in Drake back after the work is completed?
That would be not a problem.
Right. Member says, I currently use Drake and Gruntworks. Can you clarify how you are similar and different from Gruntworks? Well, yeah, I wonder, David, if you came in late on the webinar. Gruntworks doesn't prepare the returns. How do you deal with state and large city returns?
Well, we already have some nationwide exposure, so we're familiar with specifically the Great Lakes, Indiana, Ohio. You have county and city stuff. Michigan has a number of city returns. Drake has capability to do all of that. So I think now I have to go back. I think it should be on the price schedule. If not, I'm going to eat
some more.
Yeah, okay, here it is. Yep, it's the fourth one down. So state returns, no matter what state you're in, or if there's multiple states, same thing with city. If you have more than one city, or county return or whatever, we have to do extra. But we have experience doing all those, if that's the question.
Yeah, and this particular member is from the Philadelphia area. Pennsylvania has a pain in the ass tax system, and Philadelphia has a pain in the ass earnings tax. So that is a absolute valid question. Okay, can you? What about if it's a new client where there isn't a previous year's file?
Well, then we don't have one.
Right.
We'll see what we can get as far as. I mean, our clients. I know this sounds crazy, but our clients are probably just like your clients. So our clients don't bring everything, and then they come in, and it's first year, and they just want their tax return done, and they didn't bring last year's. And we really need to have last year's to make sure there's continuity, as far as the kids, the Social Security numbers, some of the demographic stuff, as well as carryovers. That's the biggest thing that falls through the cracks when you're doing that first year return. So it's really important we get a copy of that. No different than you guys. We just ask the client for a copy, and then they can email us one, or upload it into the web portal, so we can grab a copy, so we have something we can verify before we get all done.
Okay, a couple more specific questions. Can you handle final 1040s and an estate 1041 in the year of death? How about trust 1041 returns? And I already know the answer to this, but why don't you discuss that?
We have, let me make sure.
And I've seen it on the fee schedule.
Yes, okay. Yeah, we have a number of trust returns. We have a couple, let's see, 2-3 people that are experts that's what they do. They do the trust returns. That might not be the only thing they do, but anyway, we have some experts that do the trust returns.
And it's worth mentioning, you say a couple of people. It's my understanding that you have, 60 or 70 tax professionals, CPAs or EAs?
Correct, yeah. And and it's amazing. Everybody kind of has their own little niche. So there's some people that are great at state returns. So if we have questions, we know who to ask. There's, like I said, a small handful of trust people. So I don't think we put 990s on here. We don't do a lot of 990s, but all that being said, we might do more than some of the other firms we're talking to today. But we pretty much have experience doing everything. We have memberships. Well, we have TaxCoach. We can just ask somebody if we don't know the answer. But we have our own reference books that we use, and we can get answers to anything that comes up.
Another member asks if your preparers have experience working with master limited partnerships.
You know, I have not myself, but again, if so, I can't answer that directly myself. However,
I'm assuming the question is K1s from master limited partnerships as opposed to preparing master limited partnership returns. John, correct me if I'm wrong, but really that's just a very elaborate K1 issue.
again, I'll just say this, just like you guys, if you get something new that you've never done before, we're gonna the research is on us to make sure we get it done right. We have last year's copy, and if we bump up against the wall, we won't hesitate to reach out to you to ask a question, because the bottom line is we want to make sure that your client gets their return done correctly, and we won't spare any expense or humility to make sure they get that done right.
Okay. Yes, and our member who asked the question clarifies just the K1. I have several clients with these. Yeah, those are a good size pain in the ass. Does the 50 return minimum, is that in place even if they are new clients rather than existing ones that need to be converted?
You know, hey, if we're close to 50, I just had to draw the line somewhere. I'm game to work with whatever you got. If we're close to 50, that's cool. The biggest thing I was concerned about was the conversion. So like Drake clients, it's not a big deal, and we don't have to worry about January 15th. The conversion takes some time and effort. I wanted to make sure we have concessions for that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I didn't specifically answer the question. So if we're close to 50, sure, we're glad to help.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to make sure that I haven't missed anything, and I don't. Are the flat fees per schedule? Well, you have the schedule available, but what about change order fees? What if you run into an enormous, in the words of the Steve Miller Band, what happens if you run into a great big hassle?
Well, again, our clients are like your clients, and we're just going to, I mean, unless we have to do bookkeeping or accounting, I mean, just like you guys, you charge extra for that, and we can find out to make sure we're not out of line if all of a sudden we have to do a bunch of accounting stuff. No, hey, we're going to average that. I already anticipated on some of the corporate tax returns. I mean, it's really hard. We're really hard to just give a flat fee of $650, and I put a note on here. There's no added fee for schedules. I mean, yeah, hey, I know I have $1,000, $1,200, $1,800 returns. So on some of them, I'm going to eat because I wanted to keep this simple. And then some of them, they're going to be more simple. And I did make another note on here. We can do some pricing considerations, can be made for corporate returns. If you don't have to if the client doesn't need, or you're fine with not having a balance sheet or basis calculations, because we all know that it takes more time if we don't have to do that. They're under the 250. We can charge less.
Okay, terrific. The flexibility, I think, is important if there's a justification. We have one member, for example, who's inquired with me. She's got a series of complex estate and trust returns for a single family. Doesn't meet the 50 client minimum, but the business is there, and I think is interested in doing something like that. So, guys, if you have questions, err on the side of contacting Brian. Go to the webpage at TaxCoach, shoot an email out to Sarah. Sarah will set that up for you, and ask away. Better to ask a question than assume the answer is no.
Yep, we're offering a service to help. So you guys, I mean, we're trying to do the same thing you guys are doing, is crossing, as Ed explained a couple weeks ago, we're trying to cross from tax prep to investment and wealth management services, and we are just getting started. So we're in the same spot you are, and if we can help you offload some of the work so you can spend some more time with your clients, that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, let's see what other questions. There were a couple that I answered, but I should go ahead and mention the answers. One member asked if the 50 minimum was per tax coach practitioner or per type of return. I answered that it's per tax coach practitioner. And
Yep.
if a member does not use all of the 50 returns during tax season by April 15th, can the service be used to prepare returns that are extended? And I understand that you do not lay off 60 to 70 tax professionals after April 15th, and that you are available throughout the season.
Correct. Yep. We're here all year round.
Okay. And I think that is it. This webinar will be posted. You have access to the fee schedule here in the GoToWebinar interface. The slides will be posted on the TaxCoach website, where you can pull those up. I wish we were having this webinar back in October when there was more time to prepare for this. I realize that time is short, and we've got about 3 weeks until the January 15th deadline for converting returns outside the Drake system. Those of you who currently use Drake, we don't have that same kind of time consideration because there's not a conversion that needs to be done. What we're doing here is trying to provide a safety net for you. We've worked very hard with you as TaxCoach members over the last almost 12 years now to help you grow your business, and we realize that we've created practice management problems for some of you if you don't have the capacity to do all the work, or if you've realized that you have the opportunity to shift away from commodity tax prep business towards higher value advisory and planning work. Hopefully you'll find this to be a valuable alternative, and we look forward to working with as many of you as are interested. So thank you so much for joining us, and those of you who have questions for Brian, go to the TaxCoach website, set up a time when you can talk with him, and we look forward to helping you in as many ways as we can. Brian, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate your time and appreciate the opportunity to take advantage of the tremendous organization that you have put together. For those of you who've joined us, thank you for your time, and hopefully we can make a love connection. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.